Hi, I'm Chef Jonathan Collins. Welcome to my kitchen. Join me for 6 exciting episodes of Cuisinart Culinary School, and I'll prove you're not too busy to cook. Using only the freshest and best quality ingredients. Equipping your kitchen with stylish accessories and must-have gadgets, inspiring a return to the table. I'll teach you passionate, healthy, and simple cooking for your family.
So what we got to do is we got to
answering questions about ingredients, techniques, recipes, and tools. Master French culinary basics, and you'll always cook with confidence. Every week, you'll have a chance to watch and win one of these powerful kitchen tools, all thanks to Cuisinart. Did you know that there are over 2,000 types of fruit in the world? I've chosen a few of the ones that are a little difficult to peel and thrown them into a simple salsa: pineapple, mango, and avocado. The best way to test to see if a pineapple is ready to be used, to see if it's ripe, is just to pull a couple of the leaves out of the top. That'll let you know that it's a little soft and tender inside and ready to be eaten. Pineapple is so easy to take apart and it's very, very quick. Simply remove the top, just like so. Keep that for decoration if you want. Take off the bottom. And that way you're working with a nice flat surface. Very simply go around the sides, and as you do, you reveal that beautiful bright flesh, wasting as little as possible because pineapple are expensive. And there we go, we've revealed all of that. Pull this aside. Now, top to bottom, there's a core dead center. And I'm going to show that to you very quickly. This is the core. And I'm going to quarter it yet again. And by doing that, I reveal that core and I can nick it right out. It's great to chew on, not so great to eat. Now I'm going to do a really simple fine dice of the pineapple by slicing it into strips. And I like this salsa to have a little bit of body. Nice 4 to 5 millimeter pieces into the bowl. Next, I've got red pepper. Here's a great way to take the sides off a pepper. Slice all 4 sides. You can reserve the little bit that's left over for a snack. The great thing is, it allows you to very quickly move through the pepper. Have you ever struggled with the pepper and the seeds and ended up with less pepper at the end? This is a great way to avoid that. Long, thin slices. I'm going to do about 2 sides here. Remember from our first episode, that's the julienne. Now I turn this into a brunoise by simply cutting across again. So I've got a nice brunoise of the red pepper. Now earlier I prepared some red onion. Put that in. Now for the mango. First, bottom off. And again, if I take the bottom off first, it allows me to work with the fruit without it rolling around on me. Then very carefully, I can just go from the top and just work my knife around the shape of the mango. And as I do, again, I begin to reveal that beautiful golden flesh. The smell is just incredible, but you can see I'm wasting almost nothing. Everything is going to end up in the dish. Now, a mango seed is a little bit oval in shape. So what I do is I take the kind of the fat belly side of it, and I take off about 1/3. There we go. From that, just take that little nick of skin off there. I'm going to, again, prepare julienne. And turn the mango sideways and slice it across the julienne to make a brunoise. Mango in the bowl. Lastly, I've got the avocado. The first thing you want to do is simply penetrate the skin. As soon as you do, you'll feel the seed. Give that a spin and a twist. As you twist it, you reveal the seed inside. Take your knife carefully, drop it in. You'll catch a little bit of the seed and a nice twist, and that allows you to pull the seed out free and get into that flesh. This is a great way to prepare a brunoise with the avocado. You just simply begin to slice long slices. You can feel the skin underneath, and you just press through, and press through. Nice even lines. Turn it 90 degrees and continue. And as you do, you reveal, first of all, how beautiful the textures of this avocado. A nice scoop, and you'll see, look at the way that comes out. Just perfect. Now that all my fruit and vegetables have been cut up, added a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and I have some chopped ginger, jalapeno, and fresh coriander or cilantro. That's going to be a full dump. All of those ingredients together are going to be so bright and so colorful and so incredible. This could be used as a side to chicken, to fish, or frankly just to try on its own. I'm going to put a little bit of juice to brighten it up and finish with just a little bit of salt. That can be prepared days in advance, and honestly, all that's going to happen is as it sits and marinates, the flavors are going to come together beautifully. The only thing left to do is taste. Oh, it's so good. It's sweet and hot and fragrant. It's a perfect salsa. I didn't want to talk about fruits and vegetables without mentioning juicing. Juicing is a way to get raw food into your diet and get you the vitamins, the minerals, and the raw enzymes that are critical to digestion and a feeling of well-being. I've got a plate here of my favorite. It's liquid sunrise. It's one of the ones I have almost every day. I've got apples. The apple is cored because there's a little bit of cyanide in each of the seeds. I'm going to turn this on, and you can see there is no way you could ever eat this much in a morning. But through juicing, you can power through it very quickly. Apple in. It's great too because there's very little prep involved, and this juicer from Home Outfitters makes short work of it. It's kind of fun too. I've got oranges, beautiful pink grapefruit, carrots, great for eyesight. Nice flavors too. All the citrus gets peeled because I don't want the oils from the skin. You can leave lemons and limes if you want, but with grapefruit and oranges, it's really critical. I've got a little piece of unpeeled ginger that's going in. And there we have it. I can smell that ginger. It's just brought it to life. The great thing is, if you can teach your family to juice, what you'll end up giving them is a lifestyle that will serve their health for years to come. Oh, and it tastes so good. Vegetables are either hit or miss when you're cooking. Sometimes overcooked and mushy, undercooked and maybe over-seasoned. Here's a few key tips. I've got a butternut squash. It's been halved and the seeds taken out. It's important to know what can be roasted, what should be cooked over long periods of time and short. These vine tomatoes and this butternut squash, they can really take the heat. They're gonna go into the oven, and this is how simple it is. A drizzle of olive oil. Sensation has a great selection of oils. And I've got this great lemon thyme from my garden. Looking for elements of flavor. I don't want to hide or cover up anything that these gorgeous vegetables have to offer, but I do want to accentuate. Then I've got some coarse salt. I really want to punch in some flavor. And with big, thick vegetables, it's really important to use the coarse salt. And I've got fresh ground pepper. Same with the coarse salt on the tomatoes. I'm going to put these in the oven, and it's important for timing. You want to cook them until they're fork tender. You can slide the knife in the tomato to see that it's done, and with butternut squash, it's the same thing. Slide the knife or the fork in, and when they're tender, they're done. Another great way to roast vegetables is using cast iron. Cast iron really radiates the heat. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of butter. Got a hot pan already. A couple tablespoons of olive oil. And then this is my collection of vegetables. Zucchini, parsnips, which I just love, shallots, mushrooms. I've got turnip and carrots. And I cut the carrots two ways. Red pepper, garlic, and a few more sticks of carrot. I've got whole rosemary and whole thyme. I'm going to fish those out when I come back. I'm going to drop these in right now and give this a bit of a stir. The thing that I love about roasting in the cast iron is that I can season this, a little bit of black pepper, and again, a little bit of coarse salt, one more drizzle of olive oil. I can season it, cover it, and I can pop this into the oven. You can leave it in for 45 minutes to an hour, maybe turn it once or twice. When that is finished, it's going to be golden brown, highly developed flavor, and delicious. Now there's a couple kinds of blanching. First of all, blanching potatoes needs to start in cold water. It needs to start in cold water because otherwise you begin to cook that starchy layer on the outside and your potatoes won't get fully seasoned deep into the center. So these potatoes, beautiful new potatoes, are going into cold water. I'm going to put a fresh bay leaf in, and this is really critical when you're blanching. You want to make absolutely certain you over or heavily season the water. So not like you would season it if you were going to consume it. But if you don't heavily season the water, the salt will not get into the potatoes inside. Ultimately, you'll end up having to add more salt when you're eating them. This is the best way to blanch. I'm going to put that on high heat, and I'll know it's done, again, when it's fork tender. So that's the best way to know. These can take a lot of punishment on the stovetop. You don't have to babysit them, but just stick a fork in it and you'll know when it's ready. The other type of blanching is in boiling water. Now here I've got a pan of hot water, a rolling boil, and once again with a large amount of salt, to the point that it tastes of salt. Not as much as ocean, but pretty close. So I've got a good couple tablespoons of coarse salt in there. I've cleaned these green beans, and this blanching is going to require that I blanch them until tender and then use an ice bath to freeze and stop the cooking and to set the chlorophyll so they're bright and colorful. So in they go. Careful not to splash. Lid on, and those are away. In this steamer, I've got sweet potatoes, and I've got this gorgeous broccoli. And the key is with steaming that, especially if you're watching a low sodium diet or don't want any extra fat, steaming is great. You're not going to get a ton of flavor by steaming, but you certainly can get good cooking results. It's important to note the different cooking times of different vegetables. The sweet potato, it took about 30 minutes. These broccoli and the beautiful, gorgeous cauliflower I've got here, it only took about 8 to 10 minutes. So again, it's going to be until it's fork tender. Watch it and watch the steam. It's very hot. You only need about an inch in the bottom of the pan. And then I have this great double boiler which allows me to steam large amounts of vegetables really efficiently. You can see these are perfectly cooked, tender, and beautiful color. And you can get these kinds of results by steaming. Let's have a quick look at where those blanching green beans are. I can tell, first of all, they're very bright, which lets me know that they're close to being finished. Quick taste, perfectly seasoned, and this is the key. Straight from the hot water into my ice bath. You can do this with any green vegetables. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, even asparagus. It's so important with green vegetables to make sure that you cook them just about to done and then stop the cooking. Remember, every time you're cooking something, when you take it off the heat, it continues to cook for seconds, sometimes minutes afterwards. Let's check quickly on our vine tomatoes. You can see how nicely they're coming along. And just a quick test, you know, I can feel that that is almost cooked all the way through. There's a little bit of resistance, so I'll leave them in for about another 5 minutes. Now for the last and probably my favorite way, which is grilling and sautéing vegetables. I've got a good quality Cuisinart cast iron grill here with grill channels in the bottom. And here I've got a stainless pan. I'm gonna put a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon of butter in the bottom of the stainless pan. I'm gonna use some olive oil to increase the smoke point so the butter doesn't burn, and some olive oil on the grill. Now, I've got a brush that's temperature safe. I'm just gonna coat that nicely. See how beautiful that is? And roll this butter and oil around. You can see it starting to bubble there. That's beautiful. I've got some asparagus that have already been trimmed, and those are going directly in the pan. The reason that I like this cooking technique is because it's so simple and it really gives the most amount of flavor. I'm also going to do some sprouts in the pan. I've sliced these in half. I've even kept some of the leaves that fall off. They have a tendency to crisp up and turn into these little golden nuggets. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and we'll just turn these occasionally, give them a little bit of a shake. Make sure they're coated with oil, and you'll see how quickly those develop. Now that my grill is smoking hot, we're going to do the same thing, but here we'll just lay them out nicely and turn them as they finish. So I've got some zucchini. Beautiful. Some eggplant, which I love. And I'm going to put whole strands of thyme down, along with mushrooms and red pepper. Isn't that spectacular? Again, a little bit of salt. Season every layer as you go. A little bit of black pepper. And those are away. As you can see, these sprouts have just turned a beautiful brown and are ready. And the same goes for this asparagus. I can turn those off. Those are perfect. I can take those, set those aside, and they're ready to go. Let's start turning some of our grilled veg here. You can see how that eggplant is soaked up some of that gorgeous olive oil. And as I turn these, you can see you get that grill mark, which gives you a concentration of flavor. Plus, it's really fast and simple cooking. So one turn, how about that for cooking? Put it on, turn it once, and it's done. So this is great because this can be done inside or out. And let's have a look at that tomato vine and our, oh yeah, look at that. That is so beautiful. But what you can see here is these tomatoes now are fully finished. I'll just take the knife and I'll show you it's just perfect. Now this butternut squash, while beginning to be tender, it's very close. This one will need about 15 minutes. Butternut squash that size, about 60 minutes total time. The last thing I want to see is our roasted root veg. So let me set this aside. Let's have a look inside. Oh, look at that. That is just beautiful. All of those flavors have concentrated. I can pull out these herbs. It smells it smells to those herbs, and you can see all of the different colors and all of the different beautiful textures. Wouldn't that make an absolutely spectacular side dish? So we've talked about roasting, blanching, grilling, steaming, and many different aspects of preparing vegetables. If you cook vegetables right, I guarantee that you'll get your family, your kids, and everybody excited about veggies. Herbs are a critical part of cooking because they bring flavor that nothing else can. I've got a selection here of herbs and I want you to understand the differences between them. The lavender, the rosemary, and the thyme and the lemon thyme I have here really stand up to things like roasting and are powerful flavor additives, where the parsley, the coriander, and the tarragon, and even the basil are brighter flavors, and because they're broadleaf, are meant to be used fresh. So you prepare them in a chiffonade, add them to a salad, or add them to a sauce. But you add them at the end because they won't stand up to that heavy heat where the other ones will. Now, I'm gonna prepare an herb salt, and let me tell you, salt isn't just salt. It is a delivery vehicle for incredible flavor, and with these herbs, makes it exceptional. What I'm going to start by doing is I've got a full sprig of thyme and a full sprig of rosemary. I'm going to put those in. They'll be pulled out later. And then I've got some beautiful zest, and I kept that from the juice so I didn't waste any. I'll put some of that in the bottom. And I've got a couple leaves of basil and a basil flower. All that's going in the jar, and then this is the fun part. I've got coarse sea salt. I've got a black salt. Isn't that gorgeous? I've got a pink salt, and I've got a flaked salt, all in. Now, a bit more of the zest. This is from grapefruit and from lemon. And then I've got fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, and something you might not think to use, I've got dry lavender, which is gorgeous, and a big part of Provençal, southern French cuisine. Close that up, and all I'm going to do is roll that around a little bit. Give it a shake. Any of the fresh herbs that are in there are going to lose their humidity and moisture, and over about a 1 week period, if you just keep turning it and tossing it, what you'll end, the smell, as soon as I hit that, as soon as I opened that up, it just came to life. You can imagine what that will do to your food. Another powerful way to use fresh herbs is in a pesto, and it's really simple. All you have to do is take fresh basil in this case. I'm just gonna tear that up just a little bit. Take out the really woody part of the stem, but the light part of the stem can go directly in. And I've got a couple cloves of fresh garlic and a handful of walnuts. You can use pine nuts. The thing is, there's such richness in the nuts because of the oils. So let's just give that a spin. This is going to be powerful flavor. And it can be used, it's very commonly used in pasta, but it can be used as a dip, as a topping. You can toss your vegetables with it. There's so many applications for a great pesto. Got some Parmesan cheese, freshly grated. And I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in there because this one I'm going to use for pasta. If I want the richness of butter. And you can see as this begins to come together, how bright and beautiful it is. And I'm just gonna add a bit of olive oil to have a beautiful consistency. So you can imagine what a big dollop of this beautiful pesto would do to any of your simple dishes. It will make it exceptionally better. The combination of basil and walnut and that extra virgin olive oil are incredible. It's truly unbelievable. Spices are so fascinating. They're the seeds and the bark, the roots and the fruit, with flavors from hot and spicy to even licorice flavor. I'm going to show you how to get the very most out of them with this simple spice rub, but before we put it together, we're going to toast them. What I've got is a pan over medium heat, and as that comes up to temperature, I've got fennel seed, star anise, which is licorice flavored, cloves, allspice berry, cumin, and black peppercorns. And you might think, why are you toasting them? When you toast them, it intensifies all of their flavors and crisps them up, making them ready to be ground. So I just need a couple star anise and a couple tablespoons of fennel. No oil in the pan, you'll notice. Maybe 2 or 3 cloves. I don't need that much, it's a powerful spice. And the same with the allspice berries. 3 or 4 berries. About a half teaspoon to a teaspoon of black pepper and a tablespoon of cumin. I can already smell that coming to life in the pan. It is beautiful. Now that these spices are toasted, the smell coming off this pan is just incredible. Now I'm going to put this into the Cuisinart grinder here. I've got a special blade that will make short work of these spices. And it's going to be a full dump, all of them in. The great thing about this is you have the opportunity to customize a mix. Not only do you know what goes into it, but when you're doing, for example, today, what we're making this rub for is for pork ribs. I can use something that's a little more fruity. Using the licorice will pair really nicely with that pork. All of the spices in, lid on, and a quick blend. You see there's literally smoke coming off the seeds, and as it comes together, when I take the lid off, it's just about going to knock me over. It's so amazing. And then for preparation, I'm just simply going to apply this. A little bit of salt, and of course our pepper is already in there. And those are ready to go into the barbecue or the oven for the first stage of getting that fat rendered down. Now listen, I want to show you a couple other kinds of spices and a proper way to use them. Whole spices. Whole spices last much longer than previously ground spices. About 1 year for something that's been ground, but have a look at this. Wouldn't it be great to just have the whole nutmeg on hand? Take your spice rasp and just simply put in what you need. The nice thing is it's freshly ground, you're releasing all of that oil and all that fragrance, and it happens right as you need it. You can do the same with cinnamon. It's actually a bark, and it's firm enough or hard enough that you can use a rasp on it as well. That's that simple. Next, the ginger root. They're just going to snap off a piece, and rather than pulling out a paring knife to peel back the skin, much safer and easier way is just to simply pull it back with a spoon. You can use a spoon or a fork. You can see how easily that comes back, reveals the flesh on the inside. Now ginger's a little hot, and often we use it when it's dry and ground into a powder, but the rasp makes short work of this again. You can even freeze it and get good results. Running the rasp along, cuts through all the fibers, and look at what I'm left with. Perfectly grated ginger. That can go into drinks, it can go into dishes, multiple uses for this ginger. Anywhere you need a little extra heat with some sweetness, it's perfect. Now, my favorite, the vanilla bean. The vanilla bean, it's normally stored in a glass jar to keep it moist. This is actually, if you can imagine, this is actually the stamen of an orchid flower. Isn't that cool? And the way that and from Madagascar, by the way, so that's why they're a little pricey. Run the knife straight down the middle, splitting it in half. Open it up, and using the back of the knife, it reveals the seeds, and look at those gorgeous little seeds in there. That is what you call pure vanilla extract.